Hello everyone, I greet in the name of God Almighty. My name is Trinity Silas, and today we'll be looking at why women are converting to Islam. I believe that this is going to be a very interesting video. It means that we are going to look at some couple of women whom have converted to Islam, and then they will be sharing their life story and the reasons why they decide to accept the religion. Of course, it might inspire others, and then it might also help people to be able to understand their purpose here on this very earth. And then to some people, it might make them to understand the mistakes that some people are actually making at the cost of making this type of decision. So if today happens to be the first time of you checking out my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So guys, before we get on to the video, I'm a theologian and I make this video not to discredit anyone's religion. This is basically for educational purposes, and I believe that at the end of this video we all are going to learn from this. So guys, without any further ado, let's get down to this video and check this out.
Islam is trending in the West among the young adult male population.
It's the world's fastest growing religion, Islam.
Islam is the fastest growing religion in all of Canada.
In the last year, around 5,200 people in Britain converted to Islam. As many as 100,000 have converted in the last decade.
A quarter of the estimated 6 million Muslims in the United States are converts.
But Islam has actually been attracting more and more Americans every day.
This is because of the rising trend of immorality in the West. They are starting to learn about Islam. More and more young men are starting to consider the religion of Islam, which they haven't before, alhamdulillah. But it is actually the women who, over the years, had been learning and converting to Islam more than the men.
It's growing rapidly. 20,000 new converts each year, 4 times as many women as men.
Converting to Islam, the 100,000 converts now is up from an estimated 60,000 10 years ago. The majority are women with an average age on conversion of 27.
But recently there's been a rise of Latinas converting into Islam. So why are they doing it?
So what's going on? What is compelling so many young white women to convert to Islam?
Why is this? Why are these amazing women decides to change their whole life and becoming a Muslim, even against all the negative media in the world? It is actually relatively the same reason as to why Islam became such a life-changing solution to their life.
I had no idea what Islam was, what Muslim meant.
I didn't know anything about other religions.
Islam in America. I really wanted to understand why people were so angry with Muslims and Islam itself.
I had lots of prejudices, but they were subconscious. I never thought of myself as an Islamophobe. I never thought I didn't like a group of people. I was trying to be kind, I was trying to be a good person. But yeah, I did have prejudices.
I was so ignorant. I was like so completely oblivious. My parents used to tell me these stories. Like they would just be like, oh, I read on the news the other day, this Muslim dad drowned his daughter for not wearing hijab, blah, blah, blah. So like growing up, hearing all these stories, I'm like, okay. And they're like, don't ever become Muslim, don't ever marry Muslim. I'm like, of course I won't. Like, why would I? Like, no reason for me to become it.
Made a new friend who was Muslim, and we were talking about the satanic things in society, and it's like, wow, same page. And then about like demons and end time and Jesus coming back and the resurrection and the day of judgment, and I was like, wow, like how is this so similar? Like,
For a couple of years, I was very lost and I was very, very sad and depressed. And I think a lot of people feel this feeling before they come to Islam. They're really, really searching for a purpose.
My life before Islam, I was dating people, I was going clubbing, I was drinking, partying, etc. And I thought I was happy, and I wasn't. Like, I actually wasn't. It was kind of this like false sense of happiness that I was experiencing, going to the club literally every Friday, literally like clockwork. I would wake up, go to the club, wake up the next morning, you know, throw up, be hungover, and then go to work and make money. There was no purpose in my life and I felt nothing. It's kind of like I was just numb, honestly.
I've done more messed up things than most people that I know around me. And I don't even want to get into it because it shocks people, honestly. I felt a little hollow inside sometimes.
I took on a career that was in the nightclub industry because I was so good at that life. Event photography, the nightlife of Dallas, photographing celebrities or high society people at different parties.
Up until this point, I was an occultist, a sorcerer, a witch, a rave girl, a new age spirituality teacher, yoga teacher, hypnotherapist, cosmic sexuality teacher, avid drug user, a wretched sinner. I did Kundalini every single day for almost 600 days. Substance abuse, fornication, concerts, retreats, everything. I was very worldly and deep in sin, but I thought I was just living my bliss. Very hedonistic. I was an agnostic science teacher and taught faithful kids about the Big Bang, saying basically there was no creator of it. I led over 100 people in devil worship. Dude, God is merciful.
I was selling drugs. I wasn't alcoholic. I literally would drink alcohol like it was water. Literally, my diet was cigarettes, coffee, Red Bull, and alcohol.
There was one time when I was in LA, I went to a nightclub and somebody spiked my drink. And that same night, I ended up in hospital. After that moment, I remember waking up in the hospital. I had makeup all down my face. I was in an awful state. And I remember thinking, why did I do this to myself? Like, I've always been against alcohol. Why have I started getting in this life?
I'm gonna do a little bit of research on it. And I wasn't really looking at the right places. I searched up online. First thing I want to search up is Islam homophobic? Well, the thing is, if you search things up online, you're gonna end up in those type of boomer forums where a lot of old people who think they know a bunch of stuff just start talking about, yes, this, and no, it's that, and they just start arguing in the posts.
I need to go to the word. I need to go to the source. I need to get in there, like in the meat. And then so I listen to the Quran. I download this whole like Spotify playlist of the Quran in Arabic and then English, like phrase in Arabic, ayah, Arabic, English, and going through the whole thing. And it kept saying like people of the book, people of the scripture, like talking to like, hey, you guys, like wake up, like this is the God of Abraham. Like, this is I am. This is the word of God. This is the same God that was sending messengers to Noah, to Abraham, to Jacob, to Joseph, to Zechariah, to Jesus, etc. This is I am. There was no contradictions. I listened to the whole thing in a week and was just like, consumed. No contradictions in the whole thing. And I was like dumbfounded, like humbled on like such a depth I didn't know was possible.
You know, it's almost like we were taught that Islam was completely foreign, and we grew up knowing that Christianity was a continuation of Judaism. I mean, I knew that, all of my friends knew that, but I didn't know there was something further that was never taught, that Muslims believed in the same prophets. I think once I saw that there were deep similarities, but at the same time everything was made more clear to me when I read about Islam. Like, nothing seemed fuzzy. You know, when I would go to the Bible and look up something, everything just seemed very confusing. It just was very clear to me. That's when I was really sure, because I wanted to be proven, you know. And once I believed in God, I was like, I can only become Muslim because this is laid out for me, you know. And the fact that Jesus is also not a godly figure and he's a Messiah, but he's also just a prophet in person as well. To me, that was like, that is what had always made sense, and I never found a tradition that could represent that for me. And finally, Islam was the answer. So
this was a time in which a lot of things were going on and a lot of hatred was coming out of the world towards Islam. So from there, I decided to ask one of my friends, she's Moroccan and also Muslim, and she gave me my first Quran.
And that was who I was looking up to, was these celebrities and these models and these people who had what I thought was the greatest thing, the greatest lifestyle. And they had so many cars and they had beautiful clothes. They were beautiful people. And I got to just look at them through my lens and see their lives, how they were living and what they were doing and everything. I would look at them and I would think to myself, well, no wonder you see all of these celebrities, they're always getting divorced, or they're committing suicide, or they're going to rehab. They're always looking for someone to fix them. And really, it's just, you have to change your whole life if you want to get fixed.
I had never met Muslim people before. I mean, in the high school I grew up, there were like 2 other Muslim people and I wasn't really close to them. We were acquaintances, but I didn't know how they lived. But the friends that I had in college, seeing how they talked to each other, how respectful they were to each other, how gentle they were with each other, how understanding, and just seeing that in action combined with the knowledge that I had researched myself, I was like, this is something different. This isn't like a joke. This is something different. And I just knew it was for me. You know, it's like I just knew. I can't remember an exact moment where I was like, oh, this, you know, like something happened, like a spark or a light bulb. It wasn't like that for me. It was just it was eventual acceptance that this was what it was. It was like eventually the veil lifted and became clearer and clearer, more clear to me.
I started meeting other Muslims and I started learning so much. And there's a series called The Arrivals. There's so much controversy over the series, but I mean, I don't care. If you can get some benefit from something, you know, I watched the series. I come to my own thoughts, my own conclusions, and when I say it opened my eyes to so much. The information that I was given, the smoke and mirrors and Hollywood, it really, really opened my eyes to a different world. Before that, I would say I was completely closed to so much that was going on in the world. And before watching any of these things, I was just, they say ignorance is bliss. Well, what an understatement. Because my thought pattern, everything just started changing. I became so aware of my surroundings, became aware of what I was doing. And some of it was really dark because when you're just living in ignorance and you don't know the things that are going around you, and then all of a sudden it's just like, whoosh, someone just takes the blanket, like just right off your head, and you're just like, whoa, slow down, okay, whoa, take it easy. That's how I felt. I was so overwhelmed. It was a lot. Not everything is as it seems. There is a lot of agendas going on in the world that most people are just blind to it. Everyone just, you know, we're all sheep. Everyone just goes about their daily lives, right? You ask yourself, like, is this the world we're living in? What's wrong with people?
And I just kept researching. And I kept wanting to prove how Islam is false and how the Prophet is false. I just kept looking. But I kept seeing parallels and I just kept praying for truth and just being so curious, like, how could this be? Then learned more, which I already knew, about the pagan holidays and how they were all pagan. They have nothing to do with Jesus. Then I learned about the Council of Nicaea and how they rewrote the Bible, edited it, removed a bunch of books, changed God and Jesus' name almost 7,000 times to Lord to confuse people that they were the same. Constantine. Learn about this history, guys. Do your own research. But I just could be like, is this really true? Like, is this really true? Like, praying for truth, like begging.
And I would sit around and talk to friends and we would think we were so smart. Like, what is life all about? And we would try to convince each other, this is what life's about. That's what life's about. But none of us really knew.
It's the scientific research, bro. It's knowing that literally the Quran was the science that scientists didn't even know about. Like, all of these people thinking that scientists came up with what has to do with a woman's uterus. Nah, honey. It came from the Quran, literally more than 1400 years ago. That's just the truth. Like, to me, there was nothing that doubted me, and there is still nothing that doubts me on my decision that I made to revert to Islam. And honestly, I'm just so happy that I made this decision.
I thought it was just a beautiful concept. The idea of getting closer to God by guarding our chastity, our adornments, was something beautiful. And so I got to the point where I wanted to try out hijab. I wanted to see how I felt in it. So I went out a couple of times with hijab. I was not Muslim at the time. I was just very interested in the modesty concept. And I began reading and researching Islam. I began reading hadiths. I began reading the surahs of the Quran. And I finally reached a point where I was like, I think this is it. I think this is how I can connect with God. And so I decided to take my Shahada. I believe it was the beginning of April. There was this huge lockdown and there really wasn't a big Muslim community that I could connect with at the moment. But I tried my hardest after I took my Shahada in the beginning of April.
I converted a few months ago, last March, during quarantine.
I didn't take Shahada in a formal way. I didn't do it in a mosque. I did it during COVID, during lockdown, in my living room. I cried the entire night. It was during Ramadan. I cried pretty much the whole time. If I remember rightly, I did it over and over again because I was worried that I was doing it wrong. So I kept doing the Shahada over and over again because I couldn't get the words out and I was trying so much and I was like, okay, I'd take a breath and then I'd try again, then I'd start crying. So I did my Shahada technically multiple times. The feeling was like, it was like I'd found my purpose. And because I never knew my purpose, I didn't know where I was going, I didn't know why I was here. I was just constantly confused, and that's how I felt for a long time. And I knew in that moment when I took my Shahada, I knew that that was it. I could leave that kind of bouncing behind. That when you're a non-Muslim, you have nothing to focus on. Everything's really difficult. Everything's a burden because you don't know why it's happening. You're confused. Where am I going? Why am I here? Why is this happening? Why am I doing this? You just don't know. But then all of a sudden, we're given these set of morals. We're given guidelines to follow. And then the goal becomes clearer. You know where you're going, why you're going there, what you're going to get at the end of it. And that's Jannah, inshallah. And that goal towards Jannah is such an easier life to live than a life of not knowing where you're going. So yeah, it was a very emotional time for me.
This deen has helped me, and inshallah it'll continue to help me.
The first year, I mean, I wish I could get back that year because like there's such a peace, really, because you're clean, you're like brand new. I mean, that peace, that inner peace of just knowing that you're in a good space now, you're in good hands is just, that is great.
On every one of my birthdays, when I blow out the candles, I make a wish. I wish I have a good life. I wish I learn. I wish I gain wisdom. I probably should have wished for something more tangible, because if you wish for wisdom, Allah will put you through all the harsh things so you learn about the wisdom. I did learn. I learned from all the messed up things I've done. And it's all these signs that I've been neglecting. Everything has been a sign. Look for signs. The reason you don't see signs is because you're not counting them as signs. I still have bad habits that I'm trying to curb. I'm not a perfect person, and I realize nobody really is.
I was that girl that when she went out in the streets, I was that girl that wanted people to look, but also got upset if the wrong person was looking. And I had to leave that behind, which was really, really difficult because a lot of my identity depended on whether people were looking at me or not. And that's really difficult because when I walk down the streets in the UK, it's like I don't exist. I'm completely invisible. And that was, you know, someone who wants to be an actress, someone who dressed in a certain way, like that's something that she doesn't want. So it was definitely a big change for me. But I started to revel, I started to enjoy that invisibleness. I started to enjoy walking down the street and actually just walking down the street, not putting on some show. Like I actually got to enjoy life for the first time without worrying what people were thinking about me. And that's what Islam gave to me.
Now I love our Creator more. He created me. I've been humbled time and time again, so deeply. Wake up, like get out of the Roman doctrines. Like we cannot keep living in this way. Like, in conclusion, there is no deity but Allah, and Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And yeah.
Thank you for watching this video. My name is Tasnim. If you haven't, please like and subscribe to Islamica to support our dawah works. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Well, that's a very interesting video, listening to this couple of people, of course, giving their story on the reasons why they convert to Islam. Well, everybody had its own reasons, just like how they narrated. But then I think that the most important thing for every individual is to make sure that at least they are able to make it to heaven. That's the most important thing, irrespective of the religion you want to be. The reason why I may not say that someone needs to be a Christian before they get to heaven is that we have a lot of people that keep doing this conversion every day, here and there, and all those things. But if I could have looked at it in a sense based on the Christian faith and how Jesus have said it, does referring to the book of John, he has already says that what he is the way, the truth, and life, and no one can see the Father except through me. So it means that for you to be able to make it to heaven, you have to go through Jesus. That's based on the Christian faith. But then Islam have a different way in which that you can be able to see the Father, which is when you're able to like say the Shahada, which is the Ashadu Anna ilaha wa ashadu Muhammadin wa Rasuluhu. That is, if you're able to like say you bear witness there is no God but Allah, and Prophet Muhammad is the last and the final messenger. All those things in a sense are all available. But then just like how some of them in a sense they are saying, talking about that some they did not understand their purpose. So it means that it's very important for you to know your purpose here on this very earth, and then once you understand your purpose, and then you should also know where you are going when you leave this very place. Many people are here and they do not know, and maybe probably some of us innocent preachers, maybe we do not do more on explaining the purpose why we are here to our people, and that's why you could hear some Christians saying that they didn't know their purpose. Maybe sometimes it's not their fault. Maybe probably we talk too much about prosperity ministry, and we do not talk much in a sense about the kingdom, about what will happen at the end of this world, and then therefore that's why some of them, they do not know. So maybe probably some of us could bear the responsibility of not doing what we are supposed to do. But then I pray that we keep on trying our best to see that we are able to educate people to be able to understand why they are here, understand their purpose, and where they are going to when they leave this very place. Because when you listen to some of these people, they're talking, some of them, they did not know. They didn't just know. That's just the reality. And they didn't just know. Maybe probably I do not know why, you understand, they didn't know. But well, anyway, that's why I says that, well, let me take responsibility at some point. But then as you as believer, at least while you are here on this very earth, you go and then you wake up, you sleep, you wake up the following day, you need to kind of really ask yourself, why am I even really here? Seriously, that could be a very important one. But then when I was listening to one of the converts, she was saying that God says that I am, right? God says that I am, and then she was referring to Moses, right? I am. And then she forgot that when Jesus says that I am, even before Abraham, I am. She forgot that part too. Well, anyway, even though the Muslim may not see it that way, even though Jesus do so many things to prove that he is God. And that's even one of the main reasons why they wanted to crucify him in the first place. It wasn't because of miracle. No, it wasn't because of miracle. It was because of he said he is God. That's just the reason why they tried to kill him. But anyway, this video is not to debate on that, but then it's been expected of us to be able to educate our people, for them to be able to understand the importance and why they are here. It's very important for everyone to know, and then the choice should be left with everybody to decide whether they want to make it to heaven or they want to decide to go to hell, because that's just the only two things that will happen. It's not really, you understand, about the religion per se, but when you say that you're in a particular religion, what do you use the religion for? Do you use it to oppress others? Do you use it to take advantage of others? That is what that we should be distancing ourselves from. Let's not go and do things or overdo things and end up losing our life at the end of the day. I think that it will be a very painful thing to every preacher, either the person is an Islamic scholar or whoever the person might be, a pastor or maybe whoever. I know that it will be a terrible thing, but then I pray that we all make it to eternity. So this is the end of my video. If you like my reaction, you should like, share and subscribe. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So guys, you remain blessed and I see you in my next video. Bye bye.